This is one of his businesses that we're helping to grow through SEO. And what we want to do is, as a tentative goal for all of our clients, we want to get to a point where we're ranking on over 200. Hello, hello.
How are we doing?
We're doing fantastic. How are you doing today?
Tired. I'm kind of digging your little sign behind you there. Analytics.
It's the name of the agency, and you can make it like brighter. You can change colors, like whatever you want.
Okay.
My head's
Analytic
yeah,
aim.
about
Nice.
like moving the
What's
desk.
your shirt say? Let me see that. That's new too. Got your swag.
Some on Zara for like 20 bucks. I have no idea. But Dennis is away in Europe right now.
Yeah. See,
So
in London or something, isn't he?
he's in London right now. I think he's going to be in Europe the next week or two.
Okay.
So for these next few office hours, it's going to be me going over a few different things. We can go and audit some stuff if you want. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk about things we can repurpose, like what I really want to get into is the difference in keywords in terms of local service pages versus just articles, because I think that's super helpful for every business. So before I get into that, though, is there anything you want to go over? Can you hear me?
Yeah. The short answer is probably yes, but
Let's get into it then. What can I help you with?
it's kind of having to going always working on a website. But one of the things is I got a new Google ad rep. He's pretty good. Actually, one of the better ones. I mean, so far, it's just been a couple of meetings, but it's definitely in the top two or three. Normally you get five or six that are complete duds, but this guy, it just made me start thinking. And I had an agency that's helping me with a lot of the copy and stuff. And one of the things that I noticed is I don't have some of the keywords in the website that I used to have on my landing pages. So my quality scores dropped from like 8.7s, 8s, and 9s, that a lot of them have now 3s and 4s. And we all know what that does is it makes your cost go way up. But with a lot of the new, I guess the big thing is how many keywords. I mean, I don't stuff. We try to write fluid. I mean, people don't have time to like plow through stuff, but how many times do you need to get the keyword in there on that landing page to have a decent quality score? I mean, does it need to appear once or?
So it's not just the keyword, right? It's not just like, hey, if the keyword is, let's say, reclaimed wood, right? And they click on it and you have reclaimed wood like 1,000 times on the page. That's not going to be, that alone isn't sufficient for quality.
Yeah. Well, okay. More backstory.
Okay.
My website is built around the products, because everything's product driven, right? So all of my main selling, my top products all have separate page. My AdWords campaigns also follow around those same products. So like if I'm doing beams, you know, I got a whole page of just beams and installs and all the different types and that sort of thing. So it is kind of specific, to a particular type. Or if it's like reclaimed flooring, that's or moldings, everything is going to be specific to that. But it's like on some of the barnwood type stuff. Um, I would have keywords. It's just not mentioned at all. And my quality score is 3. And it's like, oh crap, somewhere during all of these rewrites, we lost them, you know. It's like somebody didn't know because they don't do the ads. Because honestly, every time I've outsourced it, nobody's really done a good job with ads. And everybody likes, well, we all know how that drill goes. Finding good people is kind of hard. But, is it just a couple of keywords in there? I mean, do you really have to stuff it to move it from a 3? If it's, we're talking about targeted ads, targeted ad groups on very similar pages.
So I understand what you're saying. You're saying, hey, we've got these keywords and, the quality score has kind of gone down a lot. It used to be, a 5 or an 8. Now it's a 3. It's pretty low. And that, decreases or increases the cost of ads. Quality score itself can almost be seen as a relevancy score. And what I mean by that is it's not about keyword stuffing. It's not about having, reclaimed wood just plastered all along the landing page. It's about how relevant is that to the people searching for it. So in other words, people searching for reclaimed wood, your website pops up. How relevant is that landing page to their search inquiry? Like, for example, if you typed in, if let's say Google launched an ad campaign for Google, right? Go to google.com. Everyone knows Google. They click on the link, they go to Google. The relevancy score would be like a 10 because that's exactly where people want to go, right? So you almost have to think about it not like super technical, like it's a keyword stacking thing, like it's hey, do we have the right keywords? You almost have to view it as is the entire customer journey aligned from the keyword and is their expectations right for the page? Because one of the major metrics for how they rank that score, right? It's how long people stay on page.
Oh,
So if I click on like if I launch a Google ad and 80% of the people that click on the actual ad leave like within 2 seconds after clicking, then the quality score is going to be lower because Google takes that and it says, okay, well, what's happening is people are getting the ad, they're clicking on it, but they're not staying, which means it's not relevant, which means the relevancy score, the quality score goes down. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Does that kind of answer?
got it. Yeah, it kind of does, because one of the things is we're doing a lot of back end changes on the website, upgrading the HP again, and create, like, we got a lot of I guess you call them local pages, where we got the city and the state and we mix it up, but we're turning that now into a database.
Right.
Whereas, before it was kind of East Coast, everywhere that I'm running ads, we pick the major cities and the towns, but we're turning that into a database and also integrating some AI so that we'll be able to, in the future, once this upgrade's done, instead of making all of these, and I probably got 50 of them, but instead of making all of these individual pages, and it was a lot of cut and paste, now it'll be database driven, so that now we type in the zip code and boom, it just pops up, because we've already done that with like a lot of our products like flooring and lumber and that sort of thing, to where it comes in off of a Google sheet. So that way I can check and uncheck, hey, if I run out of something, we don't want to have to like rewrite that page because we're out of this product. That way we can make quick updates and kind of keep it relevant. So my web guy's pretty good with that stuff, but we're going to be finishing with that here in a couple more weeks. And then I was going to start going through looking for errors, looking at all the copy and stuff again. And that's the time when I'm looking through the copy, I'm going to be making some of those adjustments, trying to get some of those keywords back in. And so I kind of hear what you're saying. I gotta at least get, a sentence or two to make sure that they tie in tactfully. But, for the most part, 15 years ago, the customer, just that whole thought process, customer journey, keeping everything relevant, tied together from the search to the, all the way through. So,
Do you see how relevancy impacts that though? Like for example, like let's say there's like an ice cream shop. I'm on Water Street in Tampa, right? So I live in a
mhm.
neighborhood in Tampa. But if I post up an ad that just said like Florida ice
You're
cream,
in Tampa?
yeah.
How'd you do during the last hurricane?
Oh, I left. I left in October. Went back to Boston for a week.
But how'd your house do?
Oh, I own an apartment. I don't have a house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the apartment complex. I got family. I mean, Tampa got like slammed pretty good a couple of times.
It did. My grandma used to live in St. Pete and she's gone now. She's moving back to Boston because of the hurricane. But to bring things back on track though, right? So for the keyword scoring, if I launched an ice cream place on Water Street where I live, and the ad I put up on Facebook or Google said, ice cream, best ice cream in Florida. Florida's a big state. Am I talking about Miami? Am I talking about Fort Lauderdale? Where is it? And then I say, okay, best ice cream in Tampa. Then it's like, okay, it's a little bit better, and then best ice cream Water Street, targeting to people in Water Street. But as the more relevant I make the messaging and the more in line it is with the people I'm targeting, the better it performs and the lower the ad cost because the more relevant it is. So however you do this, I mentioned before you're spreadsheeting it out, you're getting it so that the AI can do most of it. Just keep in mind that's the most important thing is just How relevant can you make it to other people? So I just say like AI tools are great for that. Just keep that in the back of your mind that it's got to align and be as relevant as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's most of my stuff right now. And over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, keep us updated on how the PPC goes.
Yeah, and y'all just got they just got that new customer. I don't know if you're in the base camp, my first time doing that, but they just took my customer list and uploaded that into so I'm hoping that's gonna really help a whole lot since that's kind of the first time I've actually had customers, not phone calls or they did this or they did that, I think that's well, I know that's going to be absolutely huge because I just never had a list like that before.
Oh yeah. Anything else you want to go over? Or I can just get into the topic I kind of wanted to talk
Uh,
about.
uh, do you know much about HubSpot?
No,
Okay,
I know almost nothing about HubSpot.
that's it then.
No. Okay, let me pull something up. I can talk about something and then I can help repurpose it into an article. Okay. So what I want to talk about now is I want to talk about the differences between LSPs for local service businesses and standard blog posts and how it matters and what we want to do. So if I type in a business that we're working on, let's say, which one do I want to do? Let's say League Experts, which is one of our clients. It's Nelson Silva down there in Florida. Keywords last 7 days. Okay.
Is this a plumber?
No, he does leak repairs. Well, he does Master Touch, which is a $15 million business that
Wow.
does pool installs and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
But this is one of his businesses that we're helping to grow through SEO. And what we want to do is, as a tentative goal for all of our clients, we want to get to a point where we're ranking on over 200 keywords. That's what we want to do. It's like the main goal for the short form. Because what we want to do is the more keywords that we're initially ranking on, the more fire, you can almost view it like this, right? Like what a lot of SEO agencies will do is they'll add backlinks, they'll do, a bunch of kind of scammy stuff to try to get the traffic and the keywords and the backlinks up and the DR score higher. But to do that, you need to have relevant EEAT content and you need to have enough authoritative pages existing within the site already before you can leverage that with blogs. A lot of people get straight into blogs, and blogs are fantastic. But for local service pages and for LSPs in general, that's like the tinder you put in before you light a match for a fire. If we have 200 plus keywords already, then standard blog posts do more to help us rank on more and to help increase our rankings on keywords we already rank on. If we don't have 200 keywords, our main priority with producing content should be service pages. And the
Should be
reason why
what?
should be service pages and local service pages and things relevant to their area. Because what we want to do is we want to rank on over 200 keywords that are relevant to the area and to the service. So for here example, pool leak detection Boca Raton, leak detection Broward County, leak detection experts. We rank higher on these keywords and we add more keywords, the more relevant content we have in the site, which can get us to a point where we rank on them. So let's say we start writing blog posts, and the blog posts are about things a little bit unrelated to these keywords we already want to rank on. But what we want to do first is we want to get to a point where we rank on 200 keywords. That way we can better leverage the blog posts in a way which gets us more traffic. But until we get to that point, it's not as impactful as just writing service pages. So for an example, let's go ahead to the site and let's take a look. My throat's been killing me today. I feel like I'm getting sick.
This because like I help some photographers and it's interesting because they have I mean I do SEMrush and you look at them and there's like 5 keywords, traffic's like either 0 or 5, 10, I mean like really low. It's so this is just kind of an interesting starting from nothing, even though they had a website they did. I see. So it's just pictures, so they'll never rank. So, but this is like starting at ground level, because a photographer would also be like a similar to like a local service business that you got a 50-mile radius or so that you're kind of working in.
Yeah, but there's a difference between blog posts and things like service pages here, right? And the main difference between those is it's based off of a singular topic and what they already do. or it's based in an area. So for example, let's go here and choose an article. Let's see here. How pool leaks can cause serious damage to your property. So we think here, all right, what are the keywords we want to rank on here? Is this a blog post or is this a local service page? Well, it's a blog post because how pool leaks can seriously damage property. This isn't really something that most people are going to type in as a main keyword, right?
Right.
Mean, maybe they will. But point being, this can't be leveraged as much until we get to 200 plus keywords. It just can't. Like it's so helpful. It's still not positive, but it's like trying to start a fire when you have like literally no wood. Like you can
Hmm.
do it, but it's very hard. And if you just have like a good set of wood already laid down, you have some, you have some gasoline, it's much easier. So that's just what I want to talk about for local service pages. I'm going to repurpose that last part into its own article because we desperately need it for our own training. But any questions on that? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, I understand the idea of the blog and this particular one because nobody's going to search for it because that's kind of an informative type thing, and people aren't, it's great information, but how do you so I guess now you're going to convert that into something that a different type of page on stuff that they would search.
Yeah. Yeah. So it would be you have a service and then you have an actual blog. And the blog can be relevant to the service, but the service itself should be its own page. Like if we go to services here, group joint repair, residential. Let's see. What do we have here for residential? That's some PAA questions. So what we can also do is by the way, when I say service pages, it's not like we need to create 1,000 service pages. We want at least 100, actually. That's how we're going to rank higher and get on more keywords.
You
But
got all of South Florida there.
most of it, yeah. Maybe not Miami. But these are leveraging these pages more as in adding more content to these pages in the short term will give us a better benefit than just blindly writing blog posts. Because we're building off of keywords people are already searching for. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So on your service page, what keywords do you kind of choose? I mean, are you taking like the top 15% of what you do, and then how do you determine, what goes in to your what you call a service page? Is there a formula of stuff that you put in there?
Yes, just EEAT content, real content from people doing the service or being
Okay.
so I'll just give an example on things like pool inspection, minor pool restoration. For minor pool restoration, we need to add more images here. We need to give Google more proof that we do a good job for these renovations. Let's see, what else do we do? For service areas, Davie, Florida. So we need to add more real content and examples from each of these areas to help us rank.
Oh, is this where you would have to get the content and the picture from that specific area?
Ideally, yes. Yeah, for the local service pages. Because if I post an image in Tampa, but I did a project in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, I know Dennis was talking about that it's in the phone. Everybody, yeah, they know where that picture image was taken.
Exactly. So it doesn't always have to be that way. For services, it can be anywhere because it's the service itself. But for the actual areas, it's always best to get photos from where it's actually taking place. Cool. So any questions on that? Anything else you want to go over?
No, that's about it. It's interesting though. Is that WordPress?
Yeah, all the sites we work on are WordPress sites.
Now, do y'all go directly like with an Amazon web service, or do y'all have like a web host that because I asked that because I got a company that I do, what do they call it? They call it a reseller package. It allows me to spin up new servers and that sort of thing. And I don't know what all the stuff means, but they're not bad. And normally, and where they get you is the amount of data.
Right.
And kind of one of the questions that I have is I think they give me, I don't know, 40 or 50 gigs. I could have 50 websites, I could have all kinds of stuff, but the data. So, okay, going into video. Well, as we all know, video takes a lot, and I don't really want to, I don't have the space to put the video on there. So do y'all put video actually on the web hosting service, or do you use like a Vimeo? Or
Oh, just upload it to YouTube and add a link.
now if you do YouTube and the link though, but won't how do you keep the ads out of?
I'm sorry, you're talking about landing pages?
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you put a video on your website, so like on this particular page, you know, and you got a small video of somebody, doing his patch thing with the mask, and he goes under and stops the leak, boom, like right there. But that was like a video. And if you had like other videos and stuff that were longer, 4 or 5 minutes, of something, do y'all post them to YouTube? But like YouTube, it's like when I go to YouTube, you always got the commercials and stuff because I don't have a paid account.
Mhm.
I don't have I don't know what to call it, a pro subscription or something like that. But how do you, if you put the link, if you upload it to YouTube and put the link in, will the ads pop up? You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah, but that's why you don't allow ads on the video. Well, I mean, so there are different ways to do it. If it's unlisted, then the ads almost are never on videos, which is what it should be usually. So if it's unlisted video, you put it on YouTube and you embed that into a website, it's very rare that you deal with ads on the actual site
Okay.
because it's just not relevant to the customer journey. So usually it's not really a problem to worry about.
Okay.
And the good thing about YouTube, it's owned by Google, so it all just feeds into itself. Because if Google sees that it's a YouTube video embedded on your website and it's relevant to the website and the area, it can only help.
Got it. Now, I guess like from a hosting standpoint, is there like a minimum standard that y'all look at from like web hosts, or are y'all so advanced that you kind of like go into an AWS and like
No,
car,
just use WP Engine.
like WordPress.com?
Well, yeah, it's an engine. It's called WP Engine, and I'll show you. There you go, my WP Engine. So you can just host it directly through WordPress through that. So you don't need to be hosting directly on AWS. I'm sure WP Engine, goes through AWS because everything goes through AWS. But as far as where to host, we have a dedicated WP Engine account, so we can just do that. Or I'm in. I feel pretty sick, so I think I'm gonna have to stop it now.
Okay.
Sorry, is there anything else that you want to go over?
Nah, that's good. Hope you feel better.
I appreciate that, man. I'll talk to you later. Bye.